Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Welcome to my solo show. Oh, I will have guests, but for now, it's just me, Bryan Callen. I'm wearing essentially, please enjoy this off pink shirt I'm wearing. And when I say off pink, it feels almost like coral or shrimp, taupe. I don't know colors, but here's what you need to know. I was in an Airbnb. I had to do some laundry. They had a mango scented detergent. Used it, and now I smell like mango. So that's distracting to me. I don't like smelling like fruit when I walk around. That's an interesting concept. I'd rather smell like leather. I'd rather smell like gunmetal. I'd like to smell like a combination of leather, gunmetal, maybe some pipe tobacco. Okay? Why? I don't think that's socialized. I think it's just my instinct. When I walk into a bar full of strange men, when I engage with a group of men from another tribe, I don't want to smell like fruit. I don't especially want to smell like tropical fruit. Technically, a tomato is a fruit. So if I smelled like tomatoes, maybe they'd be like, this guy, he's probably Sicilian, don't fuck around with him. But I'm walking around smelling like a mango. There's nothing threatening about that. In fact, there's everything inviting about that. You understand? So if I get pulled over and the cop comes up to me and he smells gunmetal, leather, and tobacco, in his mind he's going, this guy smells like a fellow alpha. So I'm going to mind my P's and Q's. I'm going to be by the book. If I roll down my window and he gets wafted with a bunch of mango, he's going to be looking at me very differently. And if he's a certain kind of guy, there's a good chance I'm getting pulled out and strip searched. You understand? Which may be subliminally why I'm wearing a shirt that I washed in mango detergent. So you see how I bring it full circle? Okay? And I didn't even come to talk about this. I didn't. I almost shat my pants this morning. I don't think that's something to talk about necessarily, but I did. I got stuck in traffic, and yesterday I ate fucking salmon with very hot coconut curry. All right? And in that curry was chickpeas and little dices of what seemed to be yams. And when you put that much fucking curry powder and hot peppers in a thick, viscous fucking coconut milk, and then put all those chickpeas in there, the next day you're going to have problems, especially if you drink as much coffee as I do. And that's how I start my day usually. There's nothing in my stomach, but today I thought it'd be a good idea. The way I start my day is I'm very particular about my coffee, which is probably the best way if you're not listening to this. Anybody who's that particular about their coffee is white. It's a white guy thing. It's a white person thing, especially a white guy thing. I don't know what it is. Like if you hear somebody talking about how they bought a grinder, a specific kind of grinder, and how they like their coffee roasted just so, well, they're fucking white. Okay? I mean, 99 out of 100. If you hear somebody say, I'm a bird watcher, they ain't black. I mean, that's just, I'm sure there are some black bird watchers out there. I don't believe that, but I'm saying that. But we'll know that we have achieved true equality when there are as many black bird watchers as there are white bird watchers. We'll know we've achieved true equality when we know there are as many black men who are particular about the roast, their bean carries. when they're talking about the oils that come to the surface, that they like a medium roast and a shade-grown single-sourced bean from a certain elevation in Ethiopia, then we'll know that we've achieved true equality. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, until then, we're not there, man. And when a white man like fucking Jimmy Kimmel, lies down. By the way, I do agree. I mean, this narrative, he's a white man stealing a black woman's thunder. Listen, you fucking people. This is like, I love these virtue signals. I do agree that the joke went on too long. Get the fuck up and let her do her speech. That was way too much. It's her biggest moment. I get it. I'm with you. But can we not bring this crazy narrative that Jimmy Kimmel somehow is an example of white supremacy and privilege? It's like, you people are hilarious. You people, and it's mostly white people talking about this, are fucking literally, you're the kind of person that goes to a 99-cent store, walks around, and to make themselves feel rich. That's what you do. You walk around, it's the equivalent. It's about that easy. That's how I felt the other day, by the way. I was in a 99-cent store. I had to buy some microfiber, super absorbent little towels. I keep them in my car for a lot of things. They're great. They're incredibly absorbent. And I went to buy those. What? Dylan, my producer, is making a weird face. Hey, bro. You got a problem with those?
I just don't know why you need
because sometimes I want to dry my windows, or maybe I spill something and I need something super absorbent. Okay? Yeah, no.
Okay. Not
from jerking off, just like coffee or something. May I? Sorry. Anyway. But I walked in there and I literally felt like, what are all these peasants doing here? I don't want anyone touching me. Please avert your eyes. I can buy everything in this store and it won't make a bump or a dent if I could steal Crystalia's. I think that was mine. I actually think that everything Crystalia's ever said might have originated from my rib because he comes from my rib. So, but that's a whole different story. By the way, guys, couple messages from our sponsors. Number one of our sponsors is Man Tears, which is my special on YouTube. If you don't watch it, then you are remiss, because I'm laying down some crazy shit. And now, here's the thing about being a stand-up comic. I put out 50 minutes. I recorded 80 minutes. I'm going to be breaking it up into pieces because you have to in this fucking TikTok world, because I'm an old man trying to keep up in a TikTok world. And as much as I criticize TikTok, I go down that rabbit hole. I get lost. So now I got people clipping it up for me and putting it on TikTok and everywhere else so I can compete in the noise. So I can create some signal in the fucking noise. So I can create some signal in this cult of amateur where everybody thinks they've got something to say. And the problem is it's so easy to be eye-catching in 15 seconds. Try it for 50 minutes or an hour. That's a dying art form. Nobody gives a fuck. When was the last time you read a whole book? Which, by the way, here's the other thing about this amazing podcast. I'm going to be doing book reviews with Ben Askren. It's called Books with Ben. Yeah, Ben Askren is a hell of a reader. And we were talking, and he had this great breakdown of Yuval Harari's Sapiens. And I was like, this motherfucker reads. And I was at his house, and I was looking at his bookshelf. And he's a wide reader. He reads widely. So what we're going to do is me and Ben Askren, one of the most decorated wrestlers and MMA fighters of all time, are going to be on the show breaking a book down. It's going to be like 15 minutes. I don't know how long it'll be. Maybe we'll interview the authors sometimes. But the point is, we're going to break a book down so you don't have to read it. We're going to give you the most important aspects. We're going to basically give you a book review so that when you listen to it, you're going to be able to say, yeah, I read that book because we read it for you. You're welcome. Finally, another message from our sponsor, Toehold, the best flip-flops on planet Earth. Since I did Rogan and he pulled them and said they're the best made flip-flops, which they are on the planet. The website got hit with 20,000 hits, and our orders almost crippled us. So get them while you can. Wicket and Craig leather. Every exotic skin we use, including elephant, all that money, first of all, the skins come from animals that have died of natural causes. They're too old, whatever it is. And all that money, and I mean all of it, goes back to the warden, to the game reserve, to the elephants themselves. So when you're walking around like I am in a pair of toe-hold flip-flops that are made from elephant skin, just the straps here, I'm doing more for elephants than you are. How's that sound? Okay? Monsieur or Miss Madame Vegan. Monsieur or Madame Vegan. I'll just have some kale, please, because it's a complete food. Yeah, I know. I can't keep my head up. I have the posture of a jumbo shrimp. I'm aware of that. My chest goes all the way in. And I'll do nothing to you if you do anything to me physically. But if you mention anything bad about vegans, I will crush you online. Now give me my fucking kale salad with non-dairy dressing. Thank you. Sorry. Anyway, let's see. What's in the news? Well, I touched on the Jimmy Kimmel stuff. Yeah, I agree that joke went on too long. But we're living in a time where if you are clumsy with a joke, if you're clumsy with it, you run the risk of having your career at least put on hold. And we're also living in a time of forced conformity. Have you noticed that? If you're on Twitter or you're on a social media platform, and you're a big social media platform, you're speaking to the government. And the government is going to tell you, hey, we can't tell these people to come off line, but you can. And that's a violation of free speech. And God forbid you say anything counter to the narrative on gender. Oh, you're going bye-bye. You're going bye-bye. We don't care if you have 2 million followers on Twit. I think that's interesting. I'm kind of in a wait-and-see pattern here. I want to see what happens. So, Quinta Brunson, who was very nice, and I think friends with Jimmy Kimmel, and he gave her a lot of opportunities, apparently. She addressed Jimmy Kimmel laying on stage during her Emmys acceptance speech. I felt like the bit didn't bother me that much. Tomorrow, maybe I'll be mad at him. I'm going to be on a show on Wednesday, so I might punch him in the face. Well done. Quinta Brunson handled that very well. Very well. So you people are way more emotional than the person it happened to. But thank you so much for your outrage, because you're making the world a much better place. The fact that you can find inequality, racism, homophobia, transphobia, the way a ghost hunter can find a ghost. What kind of instrumentation are you using? And it all comes from a good place, but the road to hell is paved with good intent. All right. There was something else I wanted to talk about, Dylan. What was it?
You shit your pants this morning?
I shit my pants. I almost shit my pants this morning. Yeah, I'm all over the place. And then I was stuck in traffic and I had to use mind control.
Yeah.
I had to try to focus on what was being said. But you know where mind control doesn't work at all? And I don't give a shit if you're the ultimate Zen master, if you're the ultimate Rinpoche, which is what they call Tibetan contemplative athletes, the ones that can slow down their heart and sit in a cave for 40 years and come out all happy and shit. I don't give a shit how good you are at your mind control and controlling your heart and accepting your death. You ain't doing shit when you ate salmon curry with hot peppers and you had 4 espressos. You're going to shit your pants. So I did everything I could. And it was only the squats and the work I do on my posterior chain and the fact that I'm in fucking shape and I never quit that I was able to hold it just in time. And as I was talking to you and you opened that door, notice I called you for you to open the door. You open the door and I go, I got to go to the bath. And I think I was almost pooing there. Yeah. And I almost fell down trying to get my butt into the toilet.
Do you think shitting your pants is a break in willpower and constitution? I know that you know it's Zen, but I do feel you give up if you shit your pants.
Yeah, but everybody has to give up sometimes because your body decides not in here, right? And that's a disaster. And that would have been such a disaster. We would have had to rope off an area, and I would have had to have, I don't know what I would have done. You would have had to drive me home, and I would have had to been on my hands and knees in the back seat because there's no way I could sit in that.
I don't think I would let you into the vehicle.
I shat my pants when I was at a parade with my mother, and she made me, I had to be on my hands and knees in the back fucking seat. This is in the 70s before they had seatbelt laws, okay? And even if they had seatbelt laws and we're on the most dangerous highway in the world, I'm still on my hands and knees in the back seat of that fucking car. Because you're not getting human shit out of the back seat of a car. And even if you can, I don't want that car. Sell it. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. So I have a lot of shit stories, and I'm not going to go into them because that's not what this podcast. This podcast is about inspiration. Now, let's get into, there's a racist backlash on the Ring of Power. J.R.R. Tolkien's, Lord of the Rings. It's kind of interesting. Here's the thing, man. I think he wrote that in response to the Nazis. I think the idea of hatred and racial purity and all those things was probably something that a guy like that, even though he was a Brit, even though back then there was the idea that there were different, it was a caste system. Britain's a caste system. Just like India is a caste system. Just like most societies back then of color and societies that lack color were all caste systems. You had the king, you had the aristocracy, you had the warrior class, you had the merchant class, you had the peasant class, and then you had the slaves. Every society. And if the king was closest to God, the aristocracy is second closest to God. Sometimes they had, the emperor, then the warrior class. It depends. But human beings break themselves into fucking tribes. That's how it is. And oh, by the way, every movie you've ever enjoyed, every book you've ever enjoyed has that caste system to an extent. There are the good guys. There are the bad guys. There are the poor people. There are the rich people. There are the evil people. There are the good people. There's this tribe over here. There's the Targaryens over here, and there's the other fucking group over here. And both suck, or one's more virtuous and better. You're always going to root for one. You can't watch a movie unless you're rooting for one person. He was a Brit, and at that time, Britain had untold influence on the world and ruled the world. Yes, colonialism sucked for the people that were being colonized. Absolutely. I lived overseas. I saw it with my own eyes in the 70s as a kid, in the 80s. I saw what American hegemony, British hegemony, and all these different French and Spanish hegemony. I saw that. I was a beneficiary of that privilege. I was in air-conditioned cars looking at starving kids who are my age. You know why I wasn't starving? Luck. Math fell in my favor. I get it. But this is fucking hilarious. This whole backlash, because there are these right-wing groups that are now kind of using the same weaponry as the left wing. They're stirring up outrage. Like, you guys are just fucking checking boxes and putting people of color in there when they never were there. What about J.R. Tolkien? He wrote this for everybody was, well, no, if you read the books and some of the descriptions of the orcs and people were how people of color were described. Yes, there were some racist undertones or overtones or whatever the fuck it is. And, it just goes back and forth. It's fucking hilarious. You cannot win. You can't win if you're an artist. And so what Amazon should do and the people that create this stuff is just keep on keeping on. It's like being the president of the United States. I can't remember the president. He goes, I make a decision and I make 50% of the people so happy, and I make 50% of the people hate me to death. It's just what it is, man. Heavy lies the crown. Uneasy is the head that wears the crown is the actual quote. Thank you so much, Shakespeare. Dude, you learn here. All right? I just get a kick out of it, man. It's such a weird thing. And I don't even believe that this, like, Amazon had to turn off their comment section and because they'll bombard you with bad reviews. I don't actually even believe it's right-wing or left-wing Americans. I think this shit is going on with these fucking troll farms. I think basically it's troll farms. I think it's foreign actors trying to sow dissent in our country. And that's what they're doing, my fellow Americans. Don't fall for it, I'm telling you. They're trying to kill us. They're trying to kill Tolkien. They're trying to erase our history. What happened to Tolkien? Last I checked, they were all whites. I mean, except the orcs and all the people in Middle-earth. They were the underclasses. The ones that don't own land. The non-Christians, as it were. The non-Christians. The ones who don't have the length of bone that us meat eaters, us milk drinkers, us wheat eaters enjoy. The conquerors, the ones on horseback, the ones with blue eyes, fair hair, the kind of hair that goes so well with a field of wheat back in my home, back when all of us are so pure. And it's our job to do the best we can to bring Christianity and the West's way of life to the other peoples. But having lived in all those other countries, like the Middle East, Pakistan, India, having been around those people my whole life as a kid, I get it. It's like there's a lot that the developing world gets right, that Americans or the West could learn from. It's just the way it is, man. Do you know that most of the fucking studies that social scientists did were done on what they call weird people, which is westernized, Western educated, industrialized, developed, and I can't remember what the R stands for, but look that up. But that's what most of these social studies were done on, okay? Yeah. You see that. Western educated, industrialized, rich, and democratic. Okay? That's a very small percentage of the population. So when you do it, and most of them were like subjects that were already going to college of a certain age. So a lot of these studies that kind of study human behavior were done on a very, very small, specific group of people that are unique to this time in history. Isn't that funny? Like one of the things that you would find in overseas, like you go to the Philippines, my mother noticed this. She's talking about this. Middle East, anywhere. People have no problem just being still. Like no problem. My mother would be like, she'd see the Filipino people that were working there in the country she happened to have been in, whether it was Saudi Arabia or wherever. I was there. And she'd be like, they can just sit and be still and not be reading, listening to music, not even talking. They can just be there. And my mother looked at this Filipino woman. She said, don't you want to do something? Don't you get bored? She said, Madam, I'm Filipino. I don't get bored sitting and just enjoying what's around me. It was kind of none of us can do that. When you do that, you're a fucking monk. When you can do that in this country, you make a lot of money by just getting other people to sit with you silently and talking about, I don't know, shit like, fucking the inner self or whatever. I try it all the time, and then I end up falling asleep. So I meditate for like about 3 seconds before I fall asleep. So if you're wondering why I'm so centered, if you're wondering why even when I smell like a fucking mango in this shrimp/taupe shirt, that I should be playing golf in some country club, in some whites only country club and I want you to look up something in a second. I don't remember what I was going to say. What was I talking about? What was the riff? What was the joke?
Well, you were saying how you're centered, even though you were kind of besmirching meditation.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you're wondering why I'm so centered, it's because I meditate sometimes up to like 30 or 40 seconds before I fall asleep for a nap. Every fucking day.
Okay.
Hey, when literally, like, I think like 15 years ago, there were clubs that were whites only, sort of. I don't know if it was a written thing, but you couldn't really. I mean, Tiger Woods couldn't play. He couldn't go to the clubhouse because he was of color. He talks about that shit. How crazy is that? I think, in fact, I think Mark Zuckerberg, if it's true, that movie's true, he was Jewish, and so in some of the frats at Harvard, he was in the bike room. Wasn't allowed in the fucking club. What am I, woke? What am I doing here? What is this, a history lesson? All right. What can I talk about? Fuck, man. Oh, I like this. How about this? Hey, American Airlines. Well, no, I was going to say something to you, but it wouldn't matter. It doesn't matter because your planes are full anyway. This is the problem with airlines. Like, I get on the plane, I got my baby, I bring my fiance and me, and I buy the ticket like, I don't know, a day before because I got to leave. I'm doing podcasts. I had a blast on Andrew Schultz's podcast, fucking Flagrant with Akash Singh and his boys. They're all great. And then I did Joey Diaz's podcast, which just dropped. That was a blast. Great to see Joey out in Jersey. I did Legion of Skanks. Holy shit. Those fans, I can't imagine. That ain't for the faint of heart. You got to come guns a-blazing. Come ready. You got to have rhino skin. Don't be a bitch. Be ready because they're going to fuck with you. But if you can roll, then you'll be all right. That's New York, man. That's Philly. That's East Coast shit right there. Like the Legion of Skanks, that whole deal. It's so New York. Those guys are all like, if you can't roast in New York, if you can't talk about somebody's mother, there's nothing is off limits. Your kids, nothing's off limits. It's all fair game. And as long as you enter into that contract, you're going to have a good time. Those fans are rabid. But then so I don't know how long and how many podcasts I'm going to do. Now I buy a ticket. Good luck. Oh yeah, and if you want to buy a fucking first class ticket or a business class ticket a day before from LA to New York or New York to LA, that's your house payment. Okay, that's your mortgage for the fucking. You're spending at least $4 or $5 grand for 6 inches of legroom, which I will never do. You give me Elon Musk money, I ain't never doing that. I just can't. I can't pay. I'll be on my fucking head, okay, in the back of the plane, in the bathroom before I spend $5 grand for a 5-hour trip. I can't do it. I just can't pay for them. So now I buy my standard coach ticket, which I always do, and then they just last minute decide, hey, I know you're a platinum pro. Thanks a lot for the loyalty. I know you've been flying American Airlines since basically before you could walk. But we're going to put you in a middle seat and we're going to put your fiance with her baby who has claustrophobia in a middle seat, wedged between two huge people. Dudes. So she can't feed the baby or feels weird. And now she's like this with a baby as the baby's trying to reach for them and she's doing this the whole time. That was a great time. So what I did, you ready for this, you guys? What fucking I did was I got my phone out and I started trying to tweet at American, but then I said, nah, let me not tweet. Let me get on my app and fucking get to the horse's mouth. And I start, hey, I'm in a middle seat and I'm a platinum pro member and you changed my seats and I paid for fucking seats, but I have an infant, so it was in an exit row and the app fucked up. And I'm writing paragraphs, bro. How can we help you? We'll get on this right away. So sorry you're having a problem. Unfortunately, our seating app is down. Please try back in 5 hours. I was like, not helpful. I'm not flying American anymore, which of course is not true because I have to fly American. Delta's way better, by the way. Thank you, Delta. You're way better. You reward me for my loyalty. But you got to fly the airline that's direct. I just can't, I can't be stopping. I need flying as much as I do. A direct flight makes a fucking huge difference. If I had the money, I'd fly privately. Yeah. That's what I do. If I had the money, I'd fly privately. I never am going to have the money. Although I did get recognized at an airport. Guy comes up and goes, "You fly commercially?" I was like, "Yeah, bro. Yeah, I fly commercially because I don't have the $50,000, the $60,000 it costs, the $70,000. Now with gas prices, let's call it $100,000 to take my Learjet from New York to LA. You finding out how much it costs? Yeah, because a friend of mine did that because he's got the money and it cost him $54,000 and that was like 10 years ago.
Cheapest you can get is 38.
The cheapest.
The cheapest, dirt cheap.
Dirt cheap is $38,000.
Yeah.
And let me tell you what that means. I got to make $70,000 to afford that shit. Yeah.
On average, it's about 50 to 60.
Yeah, it's about 50 to 60. On average, about 50 to 60 grand. If you want to fly cross country, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there it is. Don't have it. And by the way, even if I had that money, and I'm being dead serious, like I would feel like this is where I'm religious. This is where I'm fucking religious. I don't go to church. I don't really pray. I mean, I say thank you and that's it. I'm not asking for more because that's where you fucking tempt the gods. But I feel like God is looking down on me going, so, wow, you paying $60,000 for a little privacy, huh? You gonna do that on the way back? Nice. That's $120,000, a little privacy. How many underprivileged kids could you send to college for that? How many needy families could use an extra, I don't know, $5,000? That's what goes on in my head. And I'm like, I'm being a fat cat. I'm being a spoiled piece of shit. I'm being a greedy, like, you know when people are starving and the emperor's got a huge, like a big lamb leg, and he's like, make them fight each other. Make them to the death. And the winner gets to smell my breath because I've been eating meat. This is overcooked. Bring me another leg of mutton. I'm going to eat this pudding with my hands. Mom, more fighting. Somebody dust my belly off. Somebody put oil on my belly for no reason. Make sure it's olive oil. You guys are gross and skinny. You should gain weight. Don't you love when people breathe through their noses they're eating? Yeah, I know. I notice that with, there's certain people that are on different, I can always tell when somebody's on some kind of a stimulant. You see this a lot. Or in fact, even steroids. Because like athletes, I've been around certain athletes, fighters. They when you're close to them, you can tell that their body is revving, is always on red. Their body temperature is hotter because they're running gear. It's what they call running gear. Okay, if you're on different kinds of testosterone compounds, you run in gear, and when you're next to them, you. Yeah, they breathe like an infant. They breathe like a fucking hummingbird. Yeah, and their body temperature, they feel hot. Their skin is hot. So, it's like they just finished having sex all the time.
Is that what it felt like when you were sitting next to those two men on that plane?
Yeah, well, what happened was we commandeered. There was a seat at the very back. That there was an aisle seat, and my girl sat there, and the woman who was awesome in the middle said, "You want to switch?" I go, "Yes." So I was in the middle seat on American Airlines, Pro Platinum, middle seat, in the very back of the plane where you get to smell the bathroom the whole time. All right? Yeah. So fuck you. How about that? While my baby is there, I gave her the aisle seat, but we're in the very back of the plane. That's a great ride. Hey, first of all, getting from Manhattan to fucking JFK, dealing with that traffic, which is always traffic, which is 24/7. It's the only time I've wanted COVID to hit again and have a lockdown so that highway can have a break. The trees that are facing the highway are brown and dead. Behind is alive. That's how bad it is. I mean, there are parts of the world where the birds don't fly. There are parts of the world where the birds don't go. Even pigeons that can handle it all, you will not see in the trees or lack thereof lining the Long Island Expressway. Okay? There are a couple things I can't take. A fucking cab ride from Manhattan to JFK. I'd rather be at the dentist. I've had better times at the dentist. If you're like Bryan, you got a choice. You can take a fucking cab from the west side of Manhattan at 5 p.m. You can take that cab to JFK, okay, in that traffic, which is going to take you 2 hours. Okay, you're going to creep. You're going to fucking creep. And the scenery, you're going to be surrounded by buildings that were built in the 50s and the 60s by Robert Moses and this fucking German architect. Two people that reshaped New York who hated people. They hated people. They would just use the word flow. They thought of people as ants, the way the communists do. You know how the Chinese treat their own population like they're ants? That's what these people did. And they tore down every beautiful structure. They tore down every house that was built and scaled around the movement of human beings, the interaction of human beings, the goods and services traded between human beings. Okay? Neighborhoods where you knew each other, where you played stickball on a fucking street. And Robert Moses, using eminent domain, tore it all down, tore every house down in the Bronx, people of color, by the way, and said, we're going to build you giant coffins, giant boxes with a lot of little boxes inside that are exactly the same size, with tiny windows where you get just a little sliver of sunlight for about 15 minutes a day. You're going to live in there. Yeah, you're going to live in there. And we'll have playgrounds, but the playgrounds will be concrete and steel because we don't have kids, and if we do, we never see them anyway. Where do the children play? Hey, 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 hey.
So you'd rather get a root canal?
Oh, I'm sorry. I like that you keep me on track. You said, Bri, you have a choice between taking a cab from the west side to JFK, or we're going to drill your teeth with 0 Novocaine. Okay? What would you choose? I'd be like, if it's all the teeth on the right side of my body, I'm going dentist all fucking day. That's how much I hate that fucking ride. And then I got to walk a good mile to my gate, JFK, and get on that sardine can where they give you a couple glasses of water. And lucky for me, they had the hummus. And baby carrots in case I wanted some fiber, and more chickpeas. So you can shit your pants before the wheels hit the tarmac in LA, which I didn't do. I was like, no thanks. I'm going to stay empty. I'll stay hungry and miserable. Okay? I'll stay a lot more empty than this cylinder. My tummy will not resemble the inside of this plane. And I'll just fill it with water and the occasional nibble of chocolate. Try thinking or just reading. It's impossible. And you can't sleep. Well, you can't sleep because every time you try to sleep, your head pulls your neck that way and the bone of your neck it feels like it's jutting out. And then in your sleep, you're trying to wake up because your neck is broken. You're trying to wake up. Like, I have to wake up because I can't. This is the worst thing ever. It's profoundly uncomfortable. Just doing that is I'm about to panic. I'm about to panic right now. And then you're my neck. Oh fuck. You want to torture somebody? Just put them in a chair for a year, upright. Make them sleep that way. Fuck. There's so many ways to torture. There's a guy, I want to interview him. He was put in an African jail. I think he was smuggling. They made the dude stand. He had to be in a box standing. He had to just be in a box standing for days. I don't know if it was weeks. I don't know what it was. And that's how he had to sleep, shit, eat, piss. That's a good time. That's a good time. Don't bend your knees. You're going to try to sleep that way. That must be great. That must be such a good feeling. I mean, I can't imagine that shit. God, why is it so easy to torture a human being? Did he go through some stuff?
Is that the guy?
No, this is a guy who's still around. He's doing well now.
Yeah. This is my greatest.
A stress position, also known as a submission position, places the human body in such a way that a great amount of weight is placed on just one or two muscles. For example, a subject may be forced to stand on the balls of their feet, then squat so that the thighs are parallel to the ground. Yeah, that's terrible. But having to stand in a coffin, that's where you go crazy.
If you were the head of the FAA, let's just say you're emperor of it.
Yeah.
Is there something you can...
Oh, you got it. Oh, if you work for American?
Well, you're the head of American Airlines, and you can identify something to change. Well, I mean, what is the major
I take all
flaws?
the people responsible for making Bryan Callen sit in the middle seat and be separated from his baby and fiance. And, well, they got to stand. Okay? They got to stand. Now, get in the box. It's called the box of attention. It's called the box of 10 Hut. 10 Hut! Because I need you at attention for a long time. And I want you to think about what you did to me, where I had to sit in a middle seat for over 5 hours when I bought the opposite. Okay? When I bought the opposite. So now you got to stand at attention. Okay? 10 Hut. Time to get in the 10 Hut box, bro. There's nothing I can do. Maybe you won't make that mistake again. Maybe next time, old bride guy gets to sit in a comfy chair with some elbow room. Maybe, just maybe, it's going to cut into your bottom line. It's going to sting a little bit. Maybe you space those fucking seats out a little. Maybe you scrap all your planes, in fact, and make a wider body. Would it kill Boeing and Lockheed and whoever else makes planes to make the fucking plane wider and then not allow them to put more seats, but just make it wider so everybody can have some fucking elbow room? Must I be touching everybody all the time? Anyway, just asking. I don't like touching people that I don't know. All right, that's my airplane story. And you guys, I hope you enjoyed this. We'll be doing this once a week at least. I'll be in. When are we dropping this, Dylan?
Monday.
This is when we drop. I'm going to be, shouldn't we drop it earlier, dude?
You want to drop it on Thursday?
It's Thursday now. I'm going to try to do these on Mondays.
You want to do it on Friday?
We should drop it tomorrow.
Okay.
All right, listen, I'm at San Jose Improv. If you get this, Friday, that's today. Saturday, 2 shows. San Jose Improv. Get your tickets at bryancallen.com. And then the following week, I'm at Spokane Comedy Club. Spokane. September, what is it? 22nd, 23rd, 24th, Spokane Comedy Club. Then I go right to Tacoma, Washington, Tacoma Comedy Club, September 29, September 30 and October 1. Can't wait. I like those clubs, and I love the team that runs those clubs. Then I got Bridgeport, Connecticut, Stress Factory, October 13, 14, 15. Come get some. Come get some. I know I have a lot more dates, but we're going to start with that. And then Man Tears, my special. Get some eyeballs on it. You'll like it. Man Tears. It's on YouTube. BryanCallen.com, or is it youtube.com/Bryan Callen. Subscribe. Subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, or Bryan Callen. At youtube.com/Bryan Callen. And leave a comment. And let American Airlines know that what they did was wrong. All right, guys. God bless you. Best of. Best of. My TV show with Tim Kennedy. Getting a lot of love. Tim Kennedy takes me through this whole experience of what it's like to be a special forces operator. And it's awesome and fun. And by the way, Patreon. Here's what I'm doing on Patreon. Okay? On my Patreon. We got to get this going. Can we upload these things? I'm having conversations with my friends in my car with my GoPro. And I call my dad, I call my best friends. They're all smart as shit people. We have these conversations. I'm putting that on Patreon. And I'm going to have a service where I think through Discord, you guys will be able to call me. It's called Cruising with Callen. And you guys can call me and talk to me. Ask me any question you want. Let's have a conversation. I'm going to put that up too on Patreon. So you have an ability to call me. If you have advice, I've made a lot more mistakes than you have. I'm older. I'm your guy. And I'm going to set that up. We got to do that soon. Patreon. What is it? Patreon.com/Bryan Callen?
That's it.
Patreon.com/Bryan Callen, BryanCallen. Was it $5 a month?
$5.
$5, bro. Seriously?
5.
I could charge 10. Not gonna.
Don't.
Not gonna. All right. Maybe we'll have a tier where people can definitely, if people want to talk to me. You know what I mean? We'll jack it up to $1,000 a month. Is that too much? No. I think I'll just keep it at 5. I'm a bad businessman. Do I have merch? No, I don't. But I will. Once again, toehold.com, shop toehold.com. Go to toehold. Just go to toehold on Instagram. Our sponsor. I also own 30% of the company. And I love that company. And I'm always in my toeholds. I'm always in my fucking toeholds. Best leather on the planet, Wicked and Craig. And they will last you. You can go buy, do yourself a favor. Please, go get your, whatever they are. Go to Target. Go to Costco. Go wherever you go to get your flip-flops. And buy, 30 over a lifetime. Or buy one pair of fucking unbelievable toe holds that mold to your feet, where that's the only thing you want to wear. I was in New York wearing these other shoes. My feet are fucking, they're singing, they're whistling Dixie. All right, enough of that. God bless and good night.